everybody, how's it going out there? I am Michelle. Welcome to my channel. You guys are so lucky that there's videos for you to watch about different things in gardening. Back in the day when I first started, we didn't have anything like this, and we had to learn the old-fashioned way through trial and error. So today I am going to hopefully cut that curve for you by talking about the Perennial Plant Association's top perennials that they have picked over the last 10 years, plus a few of my favorites. If I had had this list back in the day when I started, my life would have been so much easier. So hopefully today we can make yours easier too. Let me give you a little background on who the PPA is. So the PPA stands for the Perennial Plant Association. It's actually a group of people like growers, garden retailers, landscape designers, educators that make up who's in it. They started naming a perennial plant of the year back in 1990, so the list goes all the way back till then. And there are some absolutely wonderful perennials on this list, and I will link their website below so you can go check that out. Now, this is a voted on selection, and they're looking for some criteria when they do this. So some of the things that they're looking for are like multiple seasons of interest. They want it to be low maintenance. They want it to be suitable for a wide range of climates. They want it to be disease resistant, insect resistant. So they're looking for a lot of those, what I call low maintenance, high impact traits to put this plant on their list. And so I thought I would go back and talk about the last 10 years. We'll start with 2024 and work our way backwards. And then I've thrown in some extras at the end that are my very favorites. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I wish back in the day, truly, when I started, that there was a list that I knew where to start. And I can remember when I first started, I would gravitate towards certain perennials, but I didn't have a big wide range of knowledge to know what to put together. So I hope this list will help you. The other thing is, stay tuned because I will be putting together a video on some really, and maybe a couple, on some really nice perennial combinations that go well together, because I think sometimes we don't know what to put together, and I hope that that will help you too. All right, this first one that we're going to look at, this is a Phlox paniculata Gina. And this is the 2024 selection. This is the proven winner selection here that I've put a picture up. It's from Spring Hill Nursery, and it was selected for its exceptional overall garden presence. It's disease resistant, it has great fragrance, it has extraordinary appeal for pollinators, and I'm telling you, the fact that they put a phlox on the list is pretty extraordinary, because phlox usually is plagued by a lot of different problems, from powdery mildew to bug pressure. And so the fact that this one made the list is phenomenal. I just love that it's on the list. And so it's very tall and elegant. It's what I would call a classy beauty. Yeah, isn't it nice? I just love the color of the flowers on this as well. So it's going to get 24 to 48 inches high, 24 to 36 inches wide. It is going to grow in zone 4 through 8. It has small lavender pink flowers that grow in these really nice tiered clusters, and it's going to bloom midsummer through September. If you want to have prolonged blooms, you will have to go out there and deadhead it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's a pretty fast grower. It's going to grow in full sun. It will take a little bit of light shade, but you really want to, I think it's going to perform the best in full sun. It is very resistant to powdery mildew. It is a pollinator magnet, and it would be great in a cottage garden, a mixed border, a cutting garden, and it's really good if you put it in the back of the border. So this would be one of my go-tos if I was creating a longer border where I needed some height in the back. It also is a great bridge plant when you're looking for those plants that are going to bloom in between your midsummer and your early fall. This is a great bridge plant for that. Number 2 on my list is a Rudbeckia. It's the American Gold Rush, and this is a Black-Eyed Susan. I really love this plant. It is drought tolerant. It tolerates heat and humidity. It's deer resistant. It only gets 18 to 24 inches tall and wide. It grows in zone 3 through 9. I planted 3 of them in my cottage garden last year, and I planted them in heavy clay, and I think that they are going to be totally fabulous. Now, the one thing I have found with Black-Eyed Susans, and this cultivar is no exception to the rule, is if you have really rich, great soil, which if you do, I hate you, but if you do, you might have some flopping going on and you might have to stake these. Now, the other nice thing about this Black-Eyed Susan, and I think this is one of the main reasons why it made the list, is that it's resistant to septoria leaf spot. That is due to its thinner, hairier leaves This Rudbeckia is a hybrid, and even in the wet, it shows no sign of this fungus getting it. So you gotta love that, because that is a problem with black-eyed Susans. So number 2, Rudbeckia, American Gold Rush. All right, check it out. 2022, and I'm not saying that. There's no way. I will sound like an idiot. So it is Little Blue Stem, which is a grass, but there's a lot of different cultivars. So Little Blue Stem and all of its cultivars are what they chose to be the perennial plant of the year. It is tough, it's dependable, it's a clumping grass. It blends well with perennials like asters, sedums, coneflowers, other grasses. So lots of versatility with it. It's actually native to a very broad swath of North America, and it's one of the dominant grasses of the prairies. And there's tall and there's short and there's different ones. And I'll list below some of the different cultivars, but there's Carousel and Blaze and Prairie Blues and Smoke Signal and Stranding Ovation, Twilight Zone. So there's a lot of different ones out there to choose from. What's nice about it is it's got such a wide selection that you can find one probably in your region that is suitable for where you live. And that's what makes it so great and helps it get on this list, because it will grow in so many different places. Pretty much all of them grow in zone 3 through 9. They want full sun. They're not going to grow in the shade, so don't even try it, because they won't do anything in the shade. They might grow that first year and then they'll have a hard time coming back. They'll struggle and then they'll just croak on you. I tried it, so I know this. Smallest one is like 2.5 feet high, and the biggest ones can be 4.5 to 5 feet tall. So a range of sizes. You just have to pick the one that works for you. Also, they have really super nice fall color. Check that out. Isn't that beautiful? They are anywhere from copper, pink, mahogany, scarlet, deep purple, red, orange. So lots of different colors to choose from when it comes time to have that beautiful fall color. Love, love, love using this grass in landscaping. So if you're looking for some movement, oh yeah, I would pick one of these for sure. And you can go anywhere from the back to the middle to the front of the border with this, because it blends with so many different things and there's so many different heights. All right, there you go. Little Blue Stem. Check it out. I would try one. Okay, who of you out there wants a perennial that blooms all summer long? I do. I know I love Calamintha, and I love this plant because it's super easy to grow. Now, it is not suited for every part of the country, because the PPA will even say that if you have unmanaged landscape areas, this is not the plant for areas of the South and the Mid-Atlantic. But it can grow pretty much everywhere else, and you'll be just totally fine. It grows in a wide range of soils. It grows in zone 3 through 7. It's going to get 15 to 18 inches wide and high. What is great about it is it gets these like, it's like a cloud of confetti, and they're white with just a touch of pale blue on the flower. Super easy to grow if you're a beginner, and I recommend this one if you don't even know where to start or what to put in your garden. I would choose one of these because they're easy. This one checks off a lot of boxes for me. Not only does it smell great, it has this really nice like peppermint smell to it. Bees and pollinators love it. It blooms all summer long. It's deer resistant, rabbit resistant. What else? Oh, and it's durable. Oh, what's not to love about a plant that does all of those things? I would plant this one for sure if you're a beginner. 2020, that's the year of the Sun King Golden Japanese Spikenard, or an Aralia cordata. It is growing 2.5 to 3 feet high and wide in zones 3 through 9. What's nice about this one is a part shade or a full shade plant. And the more sun it gets, the more yellow it will be. The less sun it gets, the more lime green or chartreuse it will become. So I love that there's a shade plant on the list. I personally have never grown this one, but I might try it because I really like that yellow, golden, chartreusey foliage on there. And I think I'm going to try it this year. This one does get tiny little white flowers on it, and it does get these little berries on it when it's done with the flowers. They are like a deep purplish black. They're not edible, but this plant is deer resistant. So if you are having deer pressure, maybe this will be a good one to try. It has normal watering needs, but it does need good drainage. The other thing is let's see. Okay, so this plant is not drought tolerant, so you're probably going to have to give it supplemental water if you live in a really dry area. But if you have wet shade, this might be a great plant to put there. It will die back to the ground in the winter, and then it reemerges in the spring. And doesn't it look like a little shrub? Isn't that awesome? So 2020 Sun King, try it. I'm going to this year. I think I might find a place to put one of these in. All right, in 2019, they named the Stachys Hummelo. It is a type of lamb's ear, but it's a little bit different than what you're thinking. It's not that fuzzy leaf. It actually has this bright green textured foliage, and then it gets these bright, vivid spikes of purple flowers that come up off the top of it. Whenever I go to the garden show, I bring this plant and I sell out of it almost immediately because not a lot of people grow it. But it was the perennial plant of the year in 2019. It is super easy to grow. It is going to grow in zone 4 through 8. It gets 18 to 24 inches high, only 14 to 18 inches wide. It is a perfect border plant. It's pest and disease resistant, and deer won't come and eat it. So if you want to look for that medium height one for your bed, try this. You will love it. 2018 is the year of the allium, or the ornamental onion, specifically Millenium. This is one of my all-time favorite perennials. I love this thing. I have them growing at the garden center. I have them growing at my house. I put them in landscapes when I'm designing. These are awesome plants. They are upright, compact, tidy. They only get 12 to 16 inches high and wide. They grow in zone 5 through 8. They look good in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, in the fall. Oh my gosh, they look good all the time. Not only do they have this beautiful glossy green, narrow bladed foliage on it that comes up really super early in the spring, right above that they get these purple, like round ball, billy ball flowers on them that are this lavender purple. Oh, I just love this plant. They are a super magnet for pollinators, and they're deer and rabbit resistant. I love these. They are easy to grow. They're not bothered by heat. They're not bothered by bugs, disease. Oh, if you're a beginner, get this plant. You will love it. I highly recommend it. Moving on to 2017 is butterfly weed, or that right there. I'm not even going to attempt to say it because I always say it wrong. This is a native, actually, that is late to emerge in the spring, so don't think that you lost your plant if it doesn't come up right away. It's very fragrant, though, and it has bright orange flowers that bloom for a super long time. Now, one of the things is the monarchs are especially drawn to this in midsummer. So if you want a bloomer that the monarchs like, ooh, this is a good one. Now, sometimes it's called milkweed due to the sap that it produces, and it will thrive in difficult locations where the soil is lean and dry. It actually grows in zone 4 through 9, and it gets anywhere from 2 to 3 feet tall. It only gets maybe 16 to 18 inches wide. One of the things is it is most effective, and it looks great when you plant it in groups. That's when it looks its best. So if you want to try one, try butterfly weed. The one thing I will say when I have tried to plant this in the past is it doesn't do great in heavy clay. I find that if I amend the soil though a little bit with some compost, they do pretty good. So if you're looking for that bright orange flower that'll attract those monarchs, try butterfly weed. Okay, this next one I'm going to talk about is an anemone, and I'm going to give you a caution right off the get-go. So in 2016, they named this the Perennial Plant of the Year, but just know that this guy can spread. It might take 1 or 2 years for it to get established, but it has a creeping rhizome, and it can spread when it's really happy and naturalize into colonies. So if you don't want that, skip this one and move on. But if that's something that you're looking for, maybe this will be one to try. They are going to grow in zone 3 through 8. They get 24 to 30 inches high and 16 to 24 inches wide. So this is one of the very best perennials to add late season into the garden. It's going to bloom from late summer into early fall. The flowers on it are absolutely fabulous. They're like this pure white, and they're 2 to 3 inches across, and then they have this yellow center to them. So if you're looking for a standout plant in the garden later in the year, this might be one to try. But again, remember, they can spread, so be careful. Now check out this big clump of foliage. Isn't that great? That's what it's going to look like before it gets the flowers on it. And because it's so late to emerge in the spring, this is a great one to plant to hide the dieback from tulips and daffodils and those spring bulbs that you can't cut back, but you want to hide the foliage. These are great plants to put with them to hide that as they're dying back. So anemones do the very best when they're growing in part shade, and they will spread faster if they're in more sun. I find that they're the happiest though if they are protected from hot afternoon sun. So just keep that in mind if you decide to grow an anemone. Number 10 on my list is a perennial geranium or a cranesbill called Biokovo. Now this is a ground cover geranium that has an evergreen quality to it. These are going to spread from trailing stems across the ground, and they're only going to get 10 to 12 inches high, but they can get up to 18 inches wide or bigger if they're really super happy. So if you're looking for a ground cover, this might be one to try. Aren't those flowers gorgeous? So remember, this is a ground cover, so it does spread. And if you don't want a spreader, don't plant this. But if you do want a spreader, this is a great one. It's going to get white flowers with like a pinkish hue to it, probably towards the end of May, beginning of June. It has really, really good fall color. It's deer resistant, rabbit resistant. What else? Oh, it's got a pretty good fragrance to it. It's got an evergreen foliage, so it's going to hold its color in the winter. It attracts butterflies. What else? I can't think of anything else. But if you want a ground cover and you want to try one that's pretty easy to grow, try this one. Okay, real fast. Some of my other favorite ones are the Northwind. This was the 2014. It is a panicum. It is a clump forming grass. I think it's a medium-sized grass. Grows in zone 3 through 7. Gets about 5 to 6 feet high, maybe 2 to 3 feet wide. It has really broad, stiff blades of grass on it, and then the plumes come up through the grass. And this is one of my all-time favorites. It is tried, true, hardy, dependable. Love this grass. So I use this one a lot when I'm landscaping. Next one is a native, and this is the Baptisia australis, and it is a false indigo. These things grow up like a vase, and they got really deep roots, and they really don't like to be moved. Once you put them in the place that they're going to go, they're going to get anywhere from 4 to 5 feet high, and they can get 4 to 5 feet wide. They grow in zone 3 through 8, and they're deer resistant. We love anything that's deer resistant, because I do know a lot of you really struggle with deer pressure out there. So try one. Baptisia australis. Let's see, which one was that? It was the 2010 Perennial of the Year. In 2008, they named Geranium roseate the Perennial Plant of the Year, and this one just blew me away. I love this one. I actually didn't try it until 2008, and I tried it because it was named the Perennial Plant of the Year. It's a pretty big geranium, getting anywhere from 18 to 20 inches high. It has really big leaves on it, and they've got a deep lobing on them, and it's got a really nice like reddish color on the leaves in the fall. This thing is a beast when it comes to flower power. It is one of the only perennials that just keeps on blooming from the time it starts until a frost takes it out. So usually you can see the flowers come out, I'd say the beginning of June, middle of June, and then you will have flowers all the way until frost. And what happens is it gets a really big flush of flowers, and then it's self-cleaning. So as it's producing more flowers, it pushes the flowers off, so you don't have to go out and deadhead it. We love that. The other thing is it's kind of a middle of the border or a back of the border plant because it is fairly large. It will grow in heavy clay. How awesome is that? It does grow in zone 5 through 8. Now, the one thing it doesn't like is like hot afternoon sun. So if you can get it morning sun, especially if you're in the south, that is the best thing for it. It's not a great shade grower. I've grown it in light shade, but it doesn't produce the flowers like it does. If it gets like 6 hours of morning sun, then it does its very best. So I would recommend this one of my favorites. In 1998, they put an echinacea on the list, and it's a Magnus. This is a cultivar that they created from the original native purpurea, and it took them 10 years to cultivate this. This is a great perennial, though. It is so reliable, and if you've ever wanted to grow echinacea and not pay an arm and a leg for it, this is a cultivar to try because it's not so expensive. It's that classic purple color, and the leaves on it kind of radiate out and down a little bit. It's 2 to 3 feet tall and probably 18 inches wide, and it grows in zone 3 through 8. Oh, and on a side note, I don't know that I said this about the one that I just talked about, that Geranium roseate is also deer and rabbit resistant. Magnus? Yeah, also deer resistant. Oh, Salvia May Night. It was one of the very first perennials that I ever started using a lot of. It is a fabulous perennial. And I know that Proven Winners has come out with all of these improvements and all of these different salvias, but I'm telling you, this one is fabulous. It is so great. I probably used it in 60 or 70% of my first landscape designs during my first 5 years of being a designer because it was so easy to use, so easy to blend with other things, and it was the perfect perennial for so many different circumstances. It is going to grow in zone 3 through 8. It is going to bloom from July through August. Now, to get it to bloom that long, you do have to cut the foliage back or not the foliage, but the flowers back after they're done blooming, and then it'll push up more blooms. It does want to grow in full sun. It is deer and rabbit resistant. It's getting 15 to 18 inches high, although I have seen it grow bigger if it's happy. And the purple flowers on it are absolutely gorgeous. Just look at that. Isn't that great? So this list goes all the way back to 1990. And again, I linked their website down below so you can go check out the list to find one that you love. And what I love about these is they're tried, they're true, they have superior traits. That is why they made the list to begin with. And even though some of them have been around for a super long time, I'm telling you, these were the mainstay of what I would use when I was a landscape designer. As I was learning the trade and the craft and learning what plants to put out there, this is kind of where I started, was these kinds of lists. And they really helped me put together a lot of different really great landscape designs. Now, what I've got coming up, and so don't miss this part, because over the next couple weeks, I'm going to put together some perennial pairings, which is, these are ones that if you put them together in your garden, they're going to do absolutely fabulous. And I'm going to do some for sun, some for shade, some for part sun, part shade. But hopefully this will be a great list that you can use to put in your garden, because it was the one thing that I really needed when I was starting out, was what to put together and how to put it together and what it's going to look like. And so I thought I'd compile a list for you. I'm starting today with these 10, and hopefully you found one that you can try in your garden. So I'm Michelle. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you have not subscribed, please do so below. We really love that you guys support the channel, and we hope that we are bringing you information that helps you be better gardeners. So thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.